Greetings, Laura. I see you. I see you. Well, there we are. We did it, folks. There is your reading. Thank you very much. See you soon. Ha ha ha. All right, I don't know if there's any Capricorns here, but, if not and you want to hang out, that's fine too. We're going to read Capricorn. And let me just say hello and welcome. Hello and welcome. Let's get back to work. I haven't looked at my charts yet for the day. I usually check in my charts several times a day. I haven't even dared to look once, okay? Because I just don't care at the moment. I just want to get on and have fun and do your reading, okay? Dear Capricorns. So, if everybody disappears because there's no Capricorns here, then fine. But, in the meantime, like if you have Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising, you might want to hang out. Let's have a look. First of all, I'm going to start with some astrodoodles, as you know. This is what we do here now. These are the general notes for the month, and I'm just highlighting the yellow bits and pieces because those are like really obvious ones. Everything else is just stuff that I take note of in case we do personal readings for someone and we need to get into the nitty-gritty of things. Okay, so right at the very, very beginning of the month, we have a huge surge of Scorpio energy. It's actually coming out from the very tippy end of October because of the new moon vibes that we had there on the 28th and 29th and so on. So it's because it was a big stellium, it has significance in terms of a large buildup, okay? Large buildup of Scorpio energy through November, and then of course, it crests to the peak of the wave at the full moon, okay? The full moon will be in Taurus around November the 12th, okay? Over here, some other squiggles you might be interested in, other squiggles over here, but anyway, these are the two key dates over here to begin, the 1st and the 12th, and then moving on, let's just remember that we do have Mercury retrograde for the first 3 weeks or so, okay? And that's in Scorpio, so, you all know about Mercury retrograde, so we'll worry about that another time maybe, we'll see. But anyway, let's get through. Towards the end of the month, the sun shifts over into Sagittarius. It's a big difference in energy, and you'll feel it pretty immediately. And also, the actual real surge of energy for the Sag vibes actually comes at the new moon, which is around the 26th, okay? So you can mark your calendar for these key dates if you want to, the 1st, the 12th, 22nd, 26th. But here's another really important factor from my perspective as your reader. Around the 30th, we have a huge Capricorn stellium. In fact, we do have a stellium right here at the beginning too, but I didn't write it in. On November the 1st and November the 30th, the moon is in Capricorn. So it's in Capricorn twice this month. And at the same time, Venus is moved into Capricorn and Jupiter is starting to nudge its way into Capricorn. So there's a huge swirling vibe of Capricorn blanketing the whole month on top of the other things that we normally chat about. So let's dig out your astrodoodle, Capricorns. Here we are. I found it immediately. How cool is that? And it looks like this. Luckily for you, the way I look at things, there's quite a bit of green here, which is kind of nice. Okay? So here's what your Capricorn astrodoodle looks like for the month. I'll just hold it steady for a second so you can soak it all in. Yes, this is a piece of fine art, and it will be going on auction up in New York very, very soon. Yeah. Hello, Joy Diallo. I see you. So let's get to the basics over here, okay? Let's start at the very, very beginning of the month. We have the Scorpio new moon vibes right over here in your 11th house of community, hopes and wishes for like the world, humanity. It's a very egoless section of your nature, and it's also the sense of, belonging with humanity, being appreciated by humanity, depending on what you provide to humanity, okay? So luckily that's in a very harmonious axis for you right now, because the Scorpio Taurus energy is a naturally very comfortable energy for you, Capricorn, in general, okay? That's why it marks such a nice big fat comfortable swirl of green over here. So we start the month over here, new starts and new beginnings in terms of your, they call it hopes and dreams and wishes over here for your life, for humanity, of what could be really good for you and for everybody, okay? And then having a much clearer idea of what that actually means in terms of your creative self-expression. In other words, how are we actually going to do this in terms of love is as love does, okay? Your actions over here in your 5th house, okay, of creative self-expression, true love, romance, fun, passion, risk-taking, business, art, creativity, performing, achieving all these kinds of things. That's ruled by you, Capricorns, by Taurus over here. Now you do have Uranus in Taurus, and so it's kind of a volatile part of your life right now for the next 6 years or so. But it's fun. It's fun for you, Capricorn. This energy is really sweet, supportive, fun, exciting, radical, and let's say inspirational. And so my feeling is to take full advantage of the first few weeks of November, especially when you get to the middle and the full moon. My feeling is that this could be potentially really delightful for you. We have a little awkward moment when the moon is in Capricorn around the in Cancer, around the 16th, but I'm not going to fuss about that. And there's the moon in Virgo over here on the 21st. That's very sweet for you, but I'm not going to fuss about that. Let's keep going. As we get towards the end of the month, right at the 26th, well, at the 22nd, the sun enters Sagittarius over here in your 12th house, okay? The house of healing, the house of self-undoing, the house of the endings of all endings, okay? So it's new starts and new beginnings there, but this is very uplifting energy for you in a place where you really need uplifting right now, Capricorn, because frankly, you have so much pressure on you with all this huge stellium of Capricorn. It's been going on for years with the Saturn Capricorn Pluto thing. But But now it's amplifying more and more and more, and it's going to continue to amplify until January 2020. In fact, the whole of 2020 is going to be a major milestone year for you in your whole life, dear Capricorn. So it's better to know that now. We're building up to it now. So over here with the Sagittarius new moon, you might be feeling like, well, it's about time I felt better. It's about time that I had new starts and new ways of like discovering like how to be more optimistic about my health and my habits of self-undoing, and how I have dug myself in a hole for so many years, for so long, very unwittingly but inevitable. Like everybody has this part in their chart somewhere, and everybody has this need of healing. They need rest, they need to be in rehab, they need to be reconciled, they need to detach, they need to separate themselves from society in order to heal and just rest, okay? But this is good for you. This is really, really good for you, okay? You need this. And lastly over here, I just want to focus on this. This is the big blanket for the whole month, okay? So there are huge, deep, slow, profound, irreversible changes happening for you in your life, in your world. Your whole sense of self as a person, okay? Pluto is kind of like a slow-moving bulldozer. It's just grinding away anything and everything that is redundant. You could almost imagine it like what they call a tower moment, but it goes on for years and years and years, and you don't even notice it because it's just grinding away so deep down. And with the Saturn there, it's like the reality check police are just constantly having their hand on your shoulder, making sure that you, Capricorn, are being the most, let's say, responsible, capable Capricorn yet you can be. And that's a lot of pressure because you're already that way anyway. So you're kind of being held up as a beacon for the world about what it means to be realistic, practical, and how to get things done in a very, very orderly, like corporate, business-like, responsible, global manner. In other words, the way that the planet Earth is going to have to take care of itself in radical new ways that has never happened in humanity before. And someone has to take a leadership position and take charge and be the boss of these things. And I think, Capricorn, you could offer a lot in that regard to humanity. Save us, Capricorn! Save us! Hey, West Side, I see you. Thank you so much. Let's leave it at that. We can talk about it more later. We'll see. But let's get on with your reading itself. I'm going to do 3 little spreads here. Mix it up kind of thing. All right? So I'm going to focus on relationship. All right? Here. Thank you. Hello, Joy. Hello, LES. There's only a couple people here because you're not Capricorns. I understand. Don't worry. The Capricorns will catch up later. I wish there were a couple of Capricorns here, frankly. But it's okay. All right. Hello, Love Triber. I see you. All right, so I'm going to shuffle it up. A lot of you are probably very familiar with my spiel about the spread and everything, but in case people are new, I like to give them a basic outline. This is a Tarot Lumination Crucible spread, and the idea is on the understanding that there's you, Capricorn, there is a significant other or certain significant others, and there are third-party entities or a third-party entity. It's the actual relationship itself. Like if I go deep into the astrology with you, for example, I could show you in the astrology how you would have an identity here, the others would have an identity over here, and then you would share this thing that you own together called the relationship. And it has its own identity and structure and meaning and purpose, and it becomes very evident when you look at it that way. Not a lot of people look at it that way, but I do, okay? Take care, West Side. Hope to see you later. So I'll show you in this spread. A crucible is a bowl type structure that they use in laboratories to withstand intense alchemical reactions, just the same as what happens in human relationships. So watch this. Dear Capricorn, imagine that you're a smartphone, okay, in voice mode, and you are constantly transmitting and receiving energy, just like smartphones do in voice mode, okay? You are a transceiver, including the energy of love and relationship. In fact, almost dominantly love and relationship. That's why relationship readings are so popular in tarot and astrology. Over here, that would be your vibes. Over here, the vibes of a significant other. Over here at the core, the relationship itself. So you can already see, hopefully, a very elementary bowl type structure here, okay? Think of it as a potted plant, too. What is growing here? What are you guys doing? This is not a couples reading. It's all about you, Capricorn. So we need to take responsibility like you do. Think of this as like a plant, for example. And then this is surrounded by an environment. I like to think of it as the weather, especially the planets. Okay? There we go. Let's have a look. So we have the Eight of Pentacles. We are now starting your reading. My feeling is like this is a sense of encouragement coming to you from your surroundings, that you're already doing a superb job, Capricorn. However you're doing it, in whatever way, it's almost like that's your business. That's your thing, Capricorn. You're just being acknowledged and understood as doing a superb job of love is as love does. Putting all your efforts and energies into ways that really, really count for the really, really important things for the long term. In other words, Capricorns, we all know that you like to succeed and you have characteristics of and certain hallmarks of, like a person who is visibly successful. Some Capricorns are like that. They like to be successful because it just makes sense, It means it's like an endorsement of doing what has to be done and doing it properly and being acknowledged and rewarded accordingly. It makes total sense, okay? Like being a good manager, a good leader, a good CEO, a good, CFO, whatever they're called, bosses. Taking heavy responsibilities that no one else wants to take, making the tough decisions that no one else wants to do. Okay, so hello Linda, I see you, greetings. So, hey T Garnet, I just see you too. Okay, so I'm glad there is, are you a Capricorn? Wow, that would be handy. So anyway, with the Eight of Pentacles here, my feeling is this, like, imagine, the Pluto and Saturn are sitting there, and there's Venus coming up, and then the moon's there, and the moon's not there, and then Jupiter's starting to edge your way, and there's a very firm, solid, but loving, gripping hand on your shoulder saying, well done, Capricorn. You're doing an outstanding job. I know it's very, very tough. I know you've been under pressure for such a long time, and let's be honest, it's not going to let up anytime soon. And again, let's be honest, it's going to increase in January 2020 especially. And then, of course, you're totally preoccupied. But that's okay. They just want you to know that you're doing a superb job. And when we talk about Pentacles here, the way I'm looking at it is love is as love does. You're coming at it from a very profound, loving perspective, but in a very business-like way, okay? In other words, we're not talking about gooey, like passion, love type things, energy, which is, of course, perfectly acceptable. What I'm talking about is love in the ways that you take with you after you're gone. Things like measurable love, kindness, consideration, respect, honesty, humility, quality time with yourself and significant others, private time and selfhood with yourself and significant others, okay? You time, me time, and then just general responsibilities of taking care of the day-to-day workings of life. You're doing a superb job, and just keep going, okay? You're also, Capricorn, you're no stranger to work. We understand that. And the long-term approach to things, we understand that too. I just wanted to mention that too. And your invisible friends in heaven understands that too. So what are you radiating here? So with the Eight of Swords, nevertheless, let us acknowledge that it is very, very, very tough for Capricorns to be Capricorns right now. There's probably no other sign under more pressure than Capricorns right now. I'll just go back to my little astrodoodle to illustrate, okay? And see here, dear Capricorn, that's you, okay? And this is all the pressure, okay? Huge, super heavy duty pressure at the very deepest undercurrents and the tectonic plates of your life. I'm not talking about Sun, Moon, Mars, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars types of energies, which are very significant, of course, in our day-to-day life. I'm talking about the deep, deep soul level here. Pluto and Saturn, okay? Luckily, you've got the complementary energy of Uranus and Taurus, okay? And you've got the very complementary energy of all this Scorpio vibes for the first few weeks, too. But still, it's a lot of pressure. And so you might be feeling it in terms of life and love and relationship in general, especially with your most significant relationships, where you are nevertheless having to navigate extremely carefully in the way of your communications, the way that you express yourself with significant others, or especially a particular loved one, and so that you don't cause damage to them and you don't allow them to cause damage to you, because you are undergoing such huge radical shifts and changes at the deep soul level. You can't just run around and barge through life and just like as though you're like a caffeine junkie or something, and everything just works out amazingly all the time and there's never a moment of sadness. No, no, no. I think you're very acutely aware that it's a very intricate, long-term, like a Rubik's Cube kind of puzzle that you're having to deal with in life right now, about the huge shifts and changes that are happening with you at the deep soul level, and how that is received by the world at large, but also certain very specific individuals, like a spouse, a son, a daughter, a niece, a nephew, or a chosen relationship, like a partner, a mate, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, someone very, very specific, one-on-one. You are being very cautious, very careful, very responsible, treating it with on the understanding that there's a lot of things that are happening that you don't really know, that you've never actually had to deal with before, but this is you dealing with it, and you're doing a superb, absolutely superb job. What about the other over here? To me, this looks like respect. So when I see the King of Cups here, my feeling is that you've got certain individuals in your life who deeply love you and deeply respect you for being able to cope with this intense pressure at such a gut, soul, foundational level of tectonic plates in your life. They understand that you are going through big, radical, irreversible changes. They want it all to work out for you. They understand in some ways it's very disturbing, very troubling for you. And it's almost like they would not want to be you for anything. Okay? But they are here for you no matter what. In other words, it looks to me very much like Capricorn. There are certain key individuals in your life that you can count on who will respect you and honor you and appreciate you and reflect this back to you. It's almost like they are saluting you. Okay, that's the way I feel here with this one. They are saluting you and respecting you and honoring you as if you are the King of Cups yourself. Remember, in relationships, the mirroring is an extremely important aspect of relationship. So if you consider this as a reflection of you coming from a significant loved one, that indicates to me that you are deeply loved. Okay, you, Capricorn, no matter all the challenges, you are deeply loved by certain key individuals and highly respected and honored. And it's just that they would not want to be you because it's really tough to be you right now, but you're doing it and they are like, wow, fantastic. We are here for you no matter what. Sometimes it's hard for us because the huge shifts and changes that are happening in you, Capricorn, have ramifications on the significant others. So there's a lot at stake here, okay? I see this as actually very kind of beautiful in a very kind of somber, sober, really reality check kind of way, okay? Okay, let's have a look. At the core we have Okay, so with the High Priestess here, my feeling is that you've got so much on your plate already to handle in a day-to-day basis in life and love and relationship that it would be inappropriate for heaven or the universe or your relationships to put any more pressure on top of you because it's already so intense as it is. And so it puts you in a situation where this, your, your, let's say, your deliberate choice to be very, very cautious and careful in terms of the problem solving and the decision making when it comes to life and love and relationship is supported by an energy over here of divine support, which might not have a very specific language to you, but you would feel it at the core level where you, dear Capricorn, will know what you need to know when you need to know it. Nothing more and nothing less. Because if you know too much too quickly, you wouldn't be able to absorb and understand it or handle it anyway. So in other words, it's almost like heaven is administering the messages, the divine messages from the great beyond that you need in order to solve the three-dimensional aspects of your life, like a Rubik's Cube. But it will, what comes to you will only come to you on a need-to-know basis. Like the mystery will unfold naturally. The mystery of life and love and relationship and the huge changes and shifts that are happening in your life will happen in a very divinely ordained way, and it will come to you. You might not sense it as messages from heaven, but effectively, like to another observer or to these loved ones, they would see that. They would see that it's almost like you're divinely protected here and being heavily supported in terms of messages from the beyond. They understand the pressures on you and they want everything to work out for you, so they're doing everything they can to support you. They're not living your life for you. You're doing that. They're not making your decisions for you. They are just letting you know that it's almost like you are guided, you are protected over here. This is not the star card, but I'm feeling a lot of divine intervention on a need-to-know basis. Remember, it's not a couples reading. It's all about you. I'm just allowing for the other characters and energies in your life here. So what blossoms, okay? So my feeling is that this is very much to do with learning, okay, with the Six of Swords here. It's like what's happening to you, Capricorn, like if you could measure it, like if you were a lab rat and you were living your life in a very, very highly advanced, like university laboratory where it's very obvious to the scientists that you're under huge pressure, transformational, life-changing, irreversible, like evolutionary shifts. Everyone else is noticing that, but in you, the way it feels to you is though you are evolving and you are learning in sort of a very profound way about all the things that you don't really need, that don't really apply, that don't really have the really, really important long-term values in life and love and relationship. And instead, you are figuring out one item at a time, just as you're doing with the puzzle, in a very, very, like a managerial, executive, corporate decision-making kind of manner, which would be classic Capricorn anyway. In other words, you're moving on into gently, very, very gently, incrementally, through huge amounts of pressure. You're actually evolving to become more and more peaceful, more and more in harmony, more and more in tune with the things that absolutely really, really count in life, and leaving anything and everything else behind. And only the things that count. For example, dear Capricorns, I have someone very dear to me, and they are a very, very capable, very successful Capricorn in the classic Capricorn manner. And in some ways, this is very appropriate for them, because what I witness in their life is how they are extremely good at figuring out and distilling through some very complex problems and getting down to the basics. Like, for example, in their life, I know he's married and has 2 kids, and that's all that counts is the love, his wife, and his 2 kids. And it's very, very, very simple. All is success, all the success and everything that you do for, and you might have different criteria for you, Capricorn, in what really counts, but these are really, really important values, okay? Very valuable things that we talked about here. It's bringing them with you and knowing for a fact that these are the things that count. In other words, you don't need any proof anymore. You already live it. You're already living it, okay? And it is being validated for you by your life, your experience, your surroundings. It is transformational because I know Capricorns, you could be very driven by business and success, but there are levels above and beyond that where it's almost like, oh my gosh, there's stuff even more important, literally like mind my own business, take care of my loved ones, okay? Do things responsibly and let everyone else do the same. Live by example. It's just that you're under a lot of pressure to do that to a much higher frequency than ever before. But you can handle it. It's a very strong indication that you're handling it here, okay, Capricorn? And luckily, you've got some good people. Okay, I'm going to tuck this over. I hope that made sense to you, Capricorn. You only need a couple of really good people in your life to be there. Everyone else is like, okay, acquaintances, co-workers, whatever, people come and go. It's like in a movie, there are some key characters and there are a lot of supporting roles. What I'm sensing here is that you've got a few key characters in your life who are tried, tested, and true. And they are reflecting back to you your own awesomeness in terms of your capability and choosing what is truly valuable in life and love and relationship. Even though it means a lot of shifts and changes and transformation and evolution, you're doing it. And they love you for this. Okay, let's move on. Okay, let's have a look here. I want to check in. I hope that made sense to some of you Cappies out there. I just, when I do these things, it's like I'm watching a movie and I'm trying to narrate the story as it comes through. Everything feels very, very cinematic to me. That's just how I am, okay? Anyway, let's go back. We're going to do another spread. Over here, we're going to use a situational spread. This is kind of like a bit of a diagnostics. I just want to get to the core of any particular singular matter that really needs to, we need to pay attention to this throughout the month, okay? All right, let's have a look. See you, L-E-S. See you later. Hello, T. Garnet. I see you. Hello, Frittilly. I see you. Okay, I'm going to do a situational spread. It's the same thing they use in the White House. As you know, Tarot Lumination is on a hotline with the president for all his personal tarot readings. And that's normal for us. We don't like to talk about it too much, though. It doesn't matter who's the president, by the way. I just do what I do. We just do what we do here at Tarot Lumination. I just like to be a part, I like to help. There we go. So here we go. Think of this as a diagnostics like they do at a car tune-up place. We got to figure out what's going on, if there's any issues, problems, things that need to be addressed, front and center of the desk. Think of yourself, Capricorn, as the executive, and like what is like some of the really important things that you need to put on the very front of your desk, and you can put some of the other things to the side. Okay, let's have a look. I'm going to make this a pretty extreme cut. It helps me to get things very clear. Here's the situation, okay? Now here's the challenges, and here's how we're going to handle it. And again, we're going to check the weather as we go along. I like to think of the planets, but you could think of it in terms of like business demands, lifestyle demands, home, property, family, children, finances, legal stuff, creativity, destiny, whatever it might be. Think of those 12 aspects in your house, in your chart. I often think of these. If you, in Western astrology, you can take these 12 chunks of the pizza pie and allocate them to very significant, profound, well-identified components of your life, okay? Let's have a look. And the weather we have for you is the Nine of Swords. Okay, so this doesn't surprise me at all. What I'm suggesting here, what I'm not suggesting, what I'm feeling here is that this is probably not actually too much of your own energy, Capricorn. I think you're already doing a superb job of handling your own energy, knowing that it's hard to handle, and you're doing it in the way that a really, really capable leader would do it. They just take care of their business, one issue, one problem at a time. Now, Capricorns can often be, because they can often slowly, gently rise into positions of responsibility and leadership, they often attract problems that no one else wants to deal with or can't deal with. So you end up being the person who's like the decision maker, or who has to make tough decisions that nobody wants to do. So what can happen is you can be surrounded by other people's problems, okay? My feeling here is that this Nine of Swords is not your energy. This is like energy that is around you. Think of it like the weather, where you can be comfortable in you being a good Capricorn, doing your job, evolving, growing, adapting, and blossoming, and then realizing as you look at the world around you, you are surrounded by chaos, stress, pain, anxiety, suffering. You just have to watch, the Wall Street Journal, Fox News, CNN, hardcore liberal lefty channels, all of it, nature channels, environment channels. The world is highly traumatized. The United States is highly traumatized. We have astronomical healthcare costs in this country and astronomical amounts of disease and illness that is becoming, it's out of control. And I think you're sensing this, Capricorn. And it's not you're sensing, it's just that you're out there. It's like this is out there, and it's not like you're even witnessing it. It's just it's out there, and then you're having to navigate through all this stuff. A lot of it because you can handle it. So it's almost like you end up being that person who because Capricorns are good at like problem solving and making executive decisions to get done what has to be done, but you're surrounded by an awful lot of doo-doo that needs to be taken care of and healed on a global scale. And I think that's what's happening here. You're surrounded by it. Okay, let's have a look. With the Six of Cups, my feeling is that, dear Tarot Lumination, I'm a Capricorn. I know all this stuff already. You're not telling me anything new. I've been dealing with this stuff for years. I know about that Pluto-Saturn thing, and I've already made a decision. I'm going to mind my own business. I'm going to focus solely on the ones that I love and the ones who love me, especially the ones who have endured lifetime after lifetime. I'm aware of all those things. I feel extremely fortunate to be loving and to be loved in the way that you talk about it on your channel TL and so on and so on. And that's what I'm doing. And it's almost, to me, it feels like Capricorn is saying, listen, I understand that the world is having a lot of stress, pain, trauma, and suffering right now. But if everybody would literally almost, I'm not saying copy me, but if you love your loved ones and allow your loved ones to love you, and you mind your own business, then that's a really good starting point for healing the world, healing the planet. Remember, there's a huge stellium over here in your 11th house of humanity and caring for humanity. Scorpio rules that part of your life. There's a huge stellium here from October. I'm not showing it, but it's there. And that takes you through the month, for a big chunk of the month here. So I'm feeling that the way you're handling it, Capricorn, is that you're extremely aware of the situation, probably more than anyone else on the world. Like, you're so aware of what's not working on planet Earth. And then you realize there's only so much you can do. The most important things are to love the ones you are with, and allow the ones you're with to love you, and be extremely responsible in that vibe, okay? Knowing how incredibly valuable this is, because we take this with us when we cross over, okay? It's like over here, I talked about the Eight of Pentacles here. I think that's being reflected in here. where the Eight of Pentacles is saying, like, the stuff that really, really counts is the love. It's not the money. It's not the achievements. It's not the awards. I know that. I'm a Capricorn and I love all that stuff. I like to be successful and all that. But this is the stuff that really, really counts, because when we cross over, it's like, it's the most delicious feeling to be with your loved ones, and for your loved ones to be with you, and you know that. So this is, to me, this looks like it's extremely valuable to have in your toolkit of knowledge and wisdom and understanding, okay? Part of your problem-solving abilities. Now, what's the challenge here? It's very difficult to do, okay? Let's just say, even as a Capricorn, with all your skills and natural problem-solving abilities, it's actually extremely hard to solve and evolve and blossom and adapt and grow in such an environment, okay? And my feeling is this is almost like a global energy here, the Nine of Swords, and you are becoming more and more aware about how traumatized things are on the planet. We have an amazing, beautiful planet, but when you look at things like population growth, water problems, air problems, sewage and waste problems, pollution problems, burning up, fossil fuels, all that kind of stuff, ocean level, all that kind of stuff, that impacts the whole planet. That's your 11th house awareness there. And what you're realizing is that deep down, these are such deeply profound problems, they can't be solved like with a few executive orders from the president's office. It has to take a very long-term approach, constantly mitigating risk, taking one decision at a time. What is best for the planet? What's best for the individual? What's best for this stakeholder? What's best for that stakeholder? And making really, really tough decisions. It's really, really, really hard to do. That's the challenge. Okay, in other words, you've got some super vibes going here, Capricorn, but the reality is it's really hard to do what you do and be who you are and do it to this level of integrity. So how are we going to overcome this? Okay? The way I look at it here with the Strength card is you will rise in stature. You will become, you will grow from this. In other words, it's almost like, you know that expression, when the going gets tough, the tough get going? That's what's happening here, okay? I think this is what's happening here with the Strength card. It's just like your true colors will shine. Your light will shine. Your abundance, your love, your strength as an individual, as a three-dimensional human being on this planet will become stronger and stronger. And in so doing, your sense of purpose and meaning here will become more and more actualized at a very much more spiritual level and a much more loving level, as opposed to just like, trying to make the most money as possible and be successful and have the coolest car. There's so much more going on in your life, Capricorn, here, and I think you know it, and I think you will rise to it. To me, it feels like this is an understanding, like you're going to have to look in the mirror and remind yourself that you are awesome. The challenges are very tough, but you will rise to the occasion. You are a Capricorn, and you've got love on your side because you have already, it's almost like you've already planted the seeds of being loving and being loved. Okay? So that's how that reads for the Tarot Lumination perspective. I'm going to tuck this up here if you don't mind. So you can see, like, this is one spread, this is the other spread. Okay, got it? All right, I'm going to wrap this reading up with one more card, and it's an oracle. I'm going to use the Return to Spirit. Think of it as like just a message, okay? Just think of it as a message, and it'll help you, okay? Something like, you could almost think of it as a divine message, from the great beyond. Just one of those little nuggets on a need-to-know basis. And you don't even have to try and control the process. All right, let's have a look. What kind of message do we have here for you, Capricorn, from the Return to Spirit book by Cheryl Harnish? It's a beautiful deck, beautiful book. Let's have a look. Thank you for your patience, everybody, by the way. I love doing these things for you. Here is your card. It says here, power. Okay? This is fractal art. I don't know if you can see this very clearly. To me, it looks like the energy of kind of like a pulsar, like when you look into outer space and you see these amazing, extremely huge objects in the universe that are very, very far away. Okay? And they indicate the life of the universe. Let's have a look. I'm going to read for you now. Okay, here we go. Think of this as just an extra layer on top of the reading. Okay, here it goes. See if I can do this properly. The power card rules the third chakra, the solar plexus chakra. This is where we experience our sense of personal power. If you have drawn this card today, it is because Spirit is asking you to focus on your own sense of personal power and claim it. Probably now more than ever before in your life. Have you been hiding from your power or afraid to own it? Have you been feeling powerless or fearing you aren't strong enough? It's time to focus on your solar plexus and start to build your sense of personal power. Sometimes there can be a drain from our solar plexus because we are unintentionally corded to another person, most often in close relationships. This energetic cord runs directly from our third chakra and attaches to the other person. We unknowingly let others siphon off our power. This can happen if we are enabling or trying to please someone. It can also happen if we fear losing the love of that person or if we feel attacked in some way. It is time for you to look closely at why this has happened to you and to ask your guides and angels to assist you with cutting that cord. This card also comes if we are in fear of claiming our power, of standing tall and showing the world exactly who we are. Most often, we have had experiences in our early years when we personally witnessed the misuse of power or had someone attempt to diminish our own power. That was in the past, though, and you know how power is not to be used. That's true, Capricorn. You're really good at managing power. You also know that not claiming your own power does not serve you. So it's time for you to claim you. It's time for you to claim your life and claim the fact that you are powerful. You are an incredible soul. Okay? That's a lot of pressure, dear Capricorn. I mean, it's a beautiful card in its own right, but when I look at it in the context of this reading, to me it just looks like even more pressure. And it's not an ominous or a pressure that's ill-intended. It's just the pressure of, I'll just show you. It's this. It's very simple. It's this, okay? This is just a very, very intense pressure. And it's happening because it's happening. We can't control the orbits of the planets. But it's happening, and so we have to deal with it. And what it is essentially doing is what this card is saying. There is intense pressure, and it's coming at you more and more and more to become more and more in your power. And that can be sometimes very hard to do. A lot of people don't want it. They would rather someone else makes the heavy decisions, does the heavy lifting, and takes on all the responsibility. But no, it seems to be coming at you in a classic Capricorn way because no one else can handle it at that level. So, well done, Capricorn. I hope this reading makes sense to some of you. Thank you. I would love to have all your likes and comments and memberships. Please check the links below. It would really, really help the channel a lot. Thank you. I'm going to leave this. I'm going to put this aside and check out with you guys. Give me a second here. I want to say farewell. As you might have expected, Capricorn, it was kind of a serious reading. No nonsense here. No, not at all. So, I hope you get something out of it. I'd love to hear your comments and feedback. Okay, we're going to wrap it up, and we're going to, shortly, and we're going to do another report. Today is Thursday, the 24th of October in the United States on the West Coast, and I've got time for 1 or 2 more reports today. All right, catch you later. If you want to come back, I'll be back here probably within half an hour. Okay, see you guys. I'm going to wrap this up now and say fare thee well. Okay.